What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Jeff Needs Sports. Yes, I know Jeff is a football guy, and that's what most of you know me for, what you tune in for. So, this is my Jeff Needs Sports NBA midseason report, and I brought some experts on from the Off the Ball Network to kind of recap what's happened so far this season, talk about what to look for coming up the second half of the NBA season. So tonight we got Fresh and John from the Hoopers. What's up, guys?
What's going on, everybody?
Hey, thanks for coming on. We got the other VP, Mo from Up in Flames. What's going on, Mo?
What's going on, Jeff? Appreciate you for having me on.
And we got Chris LeBron over here too. He's out running errands for us tonight, but he wants to participate in the show because that's what the Prez does. So we're going to we'll kind of move on, and Chris can do what he can do, and we appreciate the help. So we'll kick it off. Essentially, what we're going to do here, I know basically this show is for not to be condescending, but like people who might watch Sports Center, or they just start watching the NBA as it starts heating up in the second half of the season. So everybody knows LeBron, the Nets, the Lakers, things like that. That pops up all the time. So I brought you guys on. We're talk about some of the other things, give people something to look for, something to watch the second half of the season that maybe they're not up to speed on. So here we go. We're going to start with the surprise team so far this season. So, Hoopers, we'll start with you guys first. Who's your surprise teams, good or bad, from the beginning of the 2021 season so far?
I'll go good first. Definitely for me, Utah, having the best record in the league, and they're beating the best teams in the league. They just beat down the Lakers. They beat Philly. I didn't expect Utah to be as good as they are for sure this year.
Oh, yeah. Every night I would turn it on and they were winning. I mean, they came out of the bubble, obviously looking good with the Denver series and all that. But, man, I mean, they look – and when they're playing good, I keep saying they remind me, once again, I'm not the fan that you guys are or watch it like you all do. But when I watch Utah play, I think San Antonio Spurs. It feels like the ball's moving in circles, and then they get a good shot every time kind of thing. Joe Kick's awesome. So I think that's a good choice. John, is that your choice?
No, I'm going with the Charlotte Hornets.
Okay.
I kind of, honestly, after they signed Gordon Hayward, I kind of figured if nothing else, they will be a hard-playing team, smart. And then you add LaMelo, which was the right pick. You needed a young star who you can build on, and with some talent and some skill just to liven it up. Him and Miles Bridges is arguably the top 3 pick-and-roll combination right now. And I think the big thing with LaMelo, he's worked on his jump shot. But Charlotte's just overall good. Malik Monk had a big night. They just got good scoring from everywhere, especially from the guard positions.
See, I haven't paid much attention to them at all. That's why we have you guys on here. Mo, how about you, man? Surprise teams.
Well, they went good, so I'm going to go bad.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk about the team that I'm representing. My Miami Heat.
They're on my list.
They have to be, in my eyes, they have to be. This team just went to the finals. They don't even have a winning record. We're talking about a team that just competed in the NBA finals, took the Lakers to 6. But if you remember, after we talked, we talked about the finals afterwards. I said, slow down on anything that happened in the bubble that was amazing to you. Slow down. All those guys got to prove themselves and run it back. My biggest thing, I wasn't as big on Tyler Hero as everybody else.
I knew you were going to bring up Hero.
I love Tyler Hero. I think he's a good player, but I didn't jump on the baby goat, all that talk, the social media talk of Tyler Hero. It was he played good, run it back. If you can repeat what you did in the bubble this year, you're going to get my respect. I'm not a guy who jumps on guys after 1 year. It takes more than 1 year for me. I give you your respect, but I don't crown Luka king yet. I don't think – I'm not ready to say the Utah Jazz are going to win the NBA Finals. I'm not ready to do any of that yet when I see all these other proven players. But the way the Miami Heat have played up to this point, even though they had a lot more factors than a lot of other teams that haven't played up to par with COVID and injuries and whatnot, the fact that we're looking at a team that just competed in the NBA Finals will not be in the playoffs today, it's been disappointing. It's been rough to have my high hopes. Year one, we weren't even supposed to be in the finals. That wasn't part of the process, the plan. We get there, we compete, look really good, amaze everybody, and then we go back to typical Miami Heat fashion. So it's been kind of rough. So I'm gonna go with the bad and say the Miami Heat have been a surprise at how bad they've been.
Yeah, I think they're on most people's charts. Chris LeBron, can you hear us?
Yeah. I mean, Miami was on definitely one of my lists, but the Knicks, for me, the New York
Gotta
Knicks.
be, right?
New York Knicks. I mean, I'm surprised that they're this good. I think the Knicks are surprised they're good. You know, there's no expectations this year. I don't think they thought Julius Randle would be this good at all, or else they don't draft Obi Toppin. I think that definitely changed, the whole thought of the season. So for me to be 15-17, I mean, you couldn't have. If you told me that before the season, I would have just been going crazy. I didn't expect much.
I think
this
everybody would have.
I didn't expect anything from this season. I expected another, down season, but, Julius Randle's an all-star. This team is playing better, overachieving isn't even, putting it, I don't know what another word for overachieving is. This team is just playing, inspired basketball. Like, it feels good to watch this team knowing that they have a chance to win every game, which is something you haven't said in a while for the Knicks.
Yeah, I get it, man.
It feels good. And Utah, too, is another team. And I had Utah as, like, a surprising team as far as,
for sure.
I thought I think we thought they thought we'd be good, but not this good.
Not like this.
No, not like this. So, like, for them to be playing this good, like, the number one team, I mean, they just blew out the Lakers. I know AD's out, but that's still something. Like, ever since they lost to the Knicks at the Garden, they've been on a roll. Like, they've been on a roll. So something about the Knicks, the Bucks lost to the Knicks at the Garden, then they started rolling. So, something about the Garden, but yeah, for me, the Knicks, not to be biased or all that, but, I was going to bring up Miami, Utah, but to me, I'll just bring up the Knicks. I mean, it's just, they're just playing really inspired basketball, and hopefully they keep it up because right now, I mean, they're in that playoff hunt. They're the 10th seed right now. I know Miami jumped them, but they're still in that playoff. If it starts right now, they're in the playoff battle. So it's just fun basketball to see.
Oh yeah, Hoopers. Who's your bad? You gave us good. Who's your bad?
For me, Boston for sure. The Celtics are playing really bad basketball right now. They started out with Kemba, so I expected them to start a little slow, but it just seems like they're still missing some of the same pieces. There's no growth there. Gordon Hayward meant more to the team than they probably thought that he meant, so I feel like they kind of missed him.
Marcus Smart out too.
Yeah, and Marcus Smart being hurt.
Oh, that hurts. Yeah, that hurts.
So, injuries have a little bit to do with what's going on, but I also just feel like they were kind of regressing.
Yeah.
Signed DeMarcus Cousins?
Yes. Yeah. They could use them.
Well, I think what we've learned is a lot of that, like Mo brought it up, is coming out of the bubble. Like, I think the bubble was a unique situation and where we judged these teams, and it was such a different environment. And like, we would have thought Boston would have came into this season just rolling, in Miami and everything, but it's just not like that. That was just a total different situation, and it was like that going into the bubble too. We all talked about that last year. Obviously, the Chicago Bulls. I thought we were going to be just terrible this year, like worried about next year's draft and all that. And as of right now, I believe it's a half game out of a home playoff game. I mean, I know the East is the East, but like
they're in the playoffs right now. Yep.
Yeah, them and the Knicks are just what a great story this year, because anytime those markets are good, it's especially for sports podcasters, man, it's conversation, like whether you're a fan or not. So yeah, I'm real happy with where the Bulls are. How Levine's playing. When they drafted him, I knew he was a quote unquote project, but I like for a player to stick with it and become better and a little bit better and better every year, and it starts paying off rather than. If you draft Levine 1 and he has his first couple seasons, then everybody's like, bust, he's out of the league. You know what I mean? I like it when they can be patient with the player and let him become the guy. So I've been super excited about the Bulls season so far. So,
and Lauri Markkanen has been balling. Lauri Markkanen is finally playing up to like that rookie year where everyone was so excited about him. He's averaging 20 a game. So
yeah,
the Bulls and on top of Levine just playing at and it's not just that he's scoring; he's being efficient too. He's 58%.
It's
he's
real
almost
scoring.
50-40-90. Like, that's crazy. He's almost 50-40-90 as a player, and like his playmaking has gotten better. He's he's been absolutely tremendous so far.
It's been amazing. I mean, I personally doubted him myself, but I'm still glad to see that. Well, you know what? Speaking of players, let's if you guys don't mind, you guys want to move on to surprise players.
Surprise players.
Yeah,
Surprise players.
yeah. Like so far, and this doesn't mean like like I talked about. This doesn't mean like somebody that you're like, wow, he's good. I mean like who's really been like, man, that guy's really helping his team. Get from point A to point B. Mo, you go first, man.
I mean, we've kind of brought up a couple, like the first couple that really come to my mind, but I'm a revert back to Gordon Hayward.
Yeah,
what he's done for Charlotte is the biggest thing about it. Like you said, he's really helping his team win. They're young, they grab LaMelo. Malik Monk is turning into like everybody on that team is kind of surprising you. Everybody didn't know how good LaMelo was gonna be. Coming into they knew he was probably gonna be the star of the draft later on, but nobody knew how good he was gonna be. But I think all that centers around their best player right now, and it's Gordon Hayward. So it's not that I just didn't think he had that Utah Jazz in him anymore. Like even when he was at Boston, I know he was injured. He had that, freak injury and everything. And I thought that was like, I know Gordon Hayward could contribute to a playoff contending team, but I didn't think he could go back to being Utah, like the Utah Gordon Hayward, and be that guy and ultimately help a team win games. I mean, Charlotte has a chance at the playoffs. It could be they're a lot better than we think as a team, and I think I got to give the credit to Gordon Hayward. We can name, everybody who's come into their own look better than we thought. Terry Rozier been balling, definitely give him credit, but I got to give the credit of that team and what we thought was a bad contract at the time.
Yeah.
We thought it was crazy to pay Gordon Hayward that kind of money, and we know Jordan. Michael Jordan could say what he want. He didn't know Gordon Hayward still had it in him. He was desperate to make some money because, arguably the greatest player, the GOAT, however we want to put it, he's a terrible talent evaluator. He hadn't evaluated talent.
Wait,
great
you
since
trying to
he's
say
been
Adam Morrison was a bad
Yep, I'm throwing him in there too. But Jordan hasn't been the greatest talent evaluator, and so for him to have Gordon Hayward right now, it looked like a bad contract. Gordon Hayward playing great. He playing worth his money.
Absolutely.
So I definitely got to give that. Of all the surprise players, we're gonna go around the table and hear more, but I'm gonna give Gordon Hayward his flowers.
Nice. We'll go to Chris next, just in case we lose him again. Who's your surprise players, Chris?
I have a few that
Go ahead.
that have been really good, really under the radar guys. One guy from Dallas, I had Brunson, Jalen Brunson. He's been really good for. He's been balling out for Dallas. Last 10 games, shooting 50% from the field or 40% from three. Knockdown free throw shooter. He's been really clutch for Dallas. Norman Powell from the Raptors. I mean, he's having a breakout season, averaging 20 points a game. He's been a real key of why Toronto has been emerging of late because they struggled. They were struggling. Yes. They were really struggling early on the season. And Norman Powell's been stepping up along with Fred VanVleet and all those guys to Toronto. Why they're this is why Kyle Lowry is kind of expendable right now. That he's even a trader with,
which is crazy.
Like Fred VanVleet, who just got paid, he got 85 mil from them. So, and another guy to me, Jordan Clarkson. I mean, I thought he even should have got all-star considerations, and because he's a lightning rod off the bench. Like he's efficient too. That's another thing. It's not just that he's scoring and he's shooting 40%. He's shooting at a high 40%.
And you can't replace those guys. A guy that can come in and guarantee you, like, efficiency like that, that's just you can't replace that in the NBA. That's so important.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so important. And he's been a big reason why Utah, is as good as they are right now. He's just a lightning rod off the bench. He just certified bucket. I think, a few games ago he had 40 points. He's just, I think he was our Hoopers of the Week. I think the Hoopers, I even had him as the Hoopers of the Week. So he's been a baller. Yeah. So those are my two guys that to me are they've been a big key part of their teams and their success.
Well, that's the thing. You guys all know we're all fans too, and there's nothing worse when a guy comes off the bench on the team you're playing, and you're like. And you're dreading it. Those guys kill you, man. If they can come in for 5-7 minute stretches and burn you, that just kills you, man. But all right, Hoopers, who's your surprise players? We talked about a few of them. We dabbled, but you.
I got one is Mikal Bridges from Phoenix. He's been there. I say he's been their most consistent player and the second offensive player. He straps every night. Like he doesn't get scored on at all. Like he's been tough. And I'm going to New York Knicks Julius Randle.
Yeah, I can't believe we made it this long without saying Randall.
I get a promotion, so I had to do that real quick.
Nah, Chris tried not to bring him up. That's all it was. Chris he didn't want to go Knicks for everything.
I would have brought him up.
I had like he's been balling. I had a couple triple doubles. He's knocking down threes. He's been efficient. I always thought he was one of the players. He was a little wild on offense, but he's kind of contained that. And he's using his strength and his speed to the best of his ability, and he got him in the playoffs right now. So
no, it's crazy. I was a fan of his coming out, so I'm glad to see it. I don't know, something about the kid I just liked, and to see this, happening is really cool. What about you, Fresh? Who you got?
Yeah, so Chris definitely stole my pick in Jordan Clarkson. But like you said about you don't want to see him against your favorite team. He killed Philly for 40, so it was hard watching that.
Right.
Being a 76ers fan, but Jordan Clarkson is running away with Sixth Man of the Year this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's been really, really important for Utah's success. So I think he's going to win that easy. And another player is in OKC. They're not winning as much, but Shai Gilgeous-Alexander took another step this year. He all-star himself this year. If they would had a few more wins, he probably would have got in. But getting over 20 points per game, he's looking like the future of that franchise. So
he just dropped 40 too last night.
Yeah, he just had 40 last night. Yeah, he did. So
he was Hooper of the Night.
So
he won Hooper of the Night.
Yeah,
Hooper of the Night.
If anybody doesn't know that's listening, Hooper of the Night, the Hoopers. If you haven't checked out their podcast, check it out. Check out their work on the Off the Ball Network. They give out Hoopers of the Night and awards like that. Do a great show every week. So that's what we're referring to. But so like as a casual fan, I see this too. But I tell you, this sounds weird. But a guy that surprised me of how like he's went to the next level is Embiid. I didn't know, like it's like I saw certain games to where I'm like, man, this guy is, but just this season I'm like, oh, okay, that's the guy they drafted. That's the guy we thought we had. So like when I turn it on and I see this, I'm like, that guy's pretty good. Like he's really putting something together. So it's surprising just to me that I'm like, okay, that's the guy. But, I already talked about Levine and you guys, some of the – I don't like to talk too negative, but like, Hero, some guys like that Mo brought up, like they all stand out. But, Murray's not a surprise, but I love watching Murray play. That 50-point game he had maybe 3 or 4 nights ago, like stuff like that. Like I enjoy seeing this young talent flourish in the NBA. It's so much fun to watch. You guys probably see it every night on Twitter. I beat people over the head with it. I don't know why everybody's stuck in the 90s and doesn't think that basketball can ever be good again. They're crazy. These teams would blow the doors off the 90s. I'm telling you right now, I watched it happen. I don't care what anybody says. But those are all good picks, man. So,
I'm glad you brought up Embiid just because, like, Embiid is making me look really great right now because everybody looked at me crazy coming into the season. I said, to me personally, I felt like talent-wise, Joel Embiid is a top 5 player in the NBA, period.
Apparently.
But he doesn't – his consistency, he didn't bring it every night. So, like, at his best, you give everybody their A-plus game. To me, Joel Embiid is a top 5 player in the NBA, period, no question. I'll kick whoever you have out of the top 5. I'll find somebody, and I'll put Joel Embiid there. But now he's bringing it consistently in – look at Philly. Like, Philly looks great. And all this Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid weren't getting along. And all these little stories around Philly that we were hearing, there was no confirmation from them, but it was just said over and over. So we believed it. And then, like, this Doc Rivers isn't a great coach. Or he's a great coach, but he's not going to take Philly to the next level. He was a questionable hire for Philly. They look 100 times better with Doc Rivers leading he was the next step. We knew Brett Brown wasn't going to take Philly to the next step. I think Philly has a chance of going to the NBA Finals this year. And it starts with Joel Embiid.
And then, another thing.
I got a squad.
another thing we've talked about, most of these surprise teams we've talked about have new coaches. I mean, there is something to that. All right, so let's talk about some of the rookies. And when I sent this to you guys, like it was more like, yeah, we know like not only who like the really good ones are, but you might be on a bad team and be a really great rookie. So like rookies that have mattered. If that makes sense? So we'll start with Chris this time, just in case we lose him again. Who's rookies that have had an impact, Chris?
I mean, to me, there's only one rookie that to me is making the most impact, and I mean, I think we know who that is, and that's LaMelo Ball. I mean, what he's been doing late, help carrying this team. I mean, you look at the Charlotte team going into the season, and you're just like, okay, they got some young pieces, but you didn't expect much. People are imagining LaMelo and Cade in the future, possibly that. But now, like, he has them balling the last 10 games. Like I said, being efficient too, being a playmaker. I think he's averaging 20 points a game the last 10 games. His turnovers are down. His assists are up. I think his assist turnover ratio is very good.
Which surprises me.
He's averaging 3 steals a game the last 10 games. He's one of the leaders in steals per game. I think around 2 a game. He's the reason why this team is flowing. It's just everything about LaMelo screams that he's going to be a superstar player. And to me, he's made the most impact out of all the rookies. I mean, there's rookies that are doing good, some surprising rookies like Peyton Pritchard and all that. But to me, it's LaMelo Ball. I mean, that's it. He's running away a rookie of the year right now. He's just been absolutely fabulous. Yep. And he's gonna change the culture of Charlotte, where you think Charlotte, you're like, okay, they got Michael Jordan, but that's it. Now I think he's gonna change the whole culture where, like, I know it started with Gordon Hayward, like he wants to go there, and I think it's gonna be it's gonna change for Charlotte. I mean, people always like the jerseys too. Like, I know that doesn't mean much about.
It does to me,
but they're classics.
But the jerseys are.
I want them grandpa jerseys, yeah.
And then you get to play for Michael Jordan's team, and you're going to play with LaMelo. I mean, that's going to be a destination for a while. I truly believe that's going to be a destination for guys to go play with LaMelo and obviously play for Michael Jordan. So, to me, the only rookie that really matters is LaMelo Ball.
All
right, Mo, who you got? Did you have LaMelo?
I didn't actually. I understand where Chris was going. He made all his points were valid. The only statement I don't like is that he's the only rookie that matters. Cause Tyrese Halliburton over there in Sacramento, like I have to give him. There's 2 guys without going the LaMelo route. Him and Patrick Williams for Chicago. And I look at, and the reason why I look at Halliburton is playing.
Patrick.
But like he's playing great. Halliburton's playing great basketball. He's a good shooter. He plays on a semi-bad team, I guess. But you look at, there's really not bad teams in the NBA. Like there are record-wise, but when you look, everybody they have somebody to watch. Like whether it's you want to watch Minnesota, they're playing bad, but they got Anthony Edwards. Even the Pistons have Jeremy Grant. Like there's a matchup no matter who plays each night that's worth watching every game for teams that I wouldn't give the time of day in a normal sense, even a bad team. So I like Halliburton and then Patrick Williams. And the reason why I love Patrick Williams, I don't think he's going to win Rookie of the Year. Obviously nothing like that. I just love the fact that everybody hated the Patrick Williams pick at the time that he got picked. Was it 4 or 5?
Yeah, 4.
It was number 4. Matter of fact, we did the live draft show at the time that Patrick Williams got picked, and everybody was just like, oh my God, like, whoa. Everybody's about to lose their mind. Chicago has no idea what they're doing. They're terrible. That was a terrible pick. But I didn't think it was a great pick, but I didn't hate it either. My thing about Patrick, those Florida State guys, you don't really see how good they are individually because Florida State isn't that type of system. So they have guys who look really good in that system and don't translate over to the NBA, but then they have guys who talent-wise individually, their game transitions to the NBA, but you don't get to see that in college because of that system. It's a great system, but it keeps them at top of the ACC every year, one of the better teams, consistent teams. Coach Leonard Hamilton, he's a great coach, but you didn't get to see like how good Patrick Williams really was because you just don't see those guys, You see them in a system. They're in a system, and that's it. No one man is bigger than that system. But those are my two guys that, without going LaMelo Ball, those two guys have impressed me and made impacts right away.
And I'm happy for them both. So Hoopers, who you guys got? I know you guys dig way into this. I bet you got some good ones.
Yeah, I love the Patrick Williams pick, but I gotta go Emmanuel quickly for New York because the Knicks, their guard play early in the season was terrible. We were begging for them to get some type of point guard, and he provided a good spark for them. So I definitely like Emmanuel quickly, and not to piggyback, but I got to go with most because I think Patrick Williams has been a big surprise because people did really like he went number 4. Like why? Yeah. His teammate who also has been playing solid. They thought he should have went higher. Vessel. They thought Vessel should have went higher, but I like Patrick Williams. He's doing his thing in Chicago for sure.
And I'm happy to see it. I apologize, Patrick. I was really down on that pick, but that's why I do football.
I think the whole world was really down on that pick. Nobody loved it. At the end of the day, that was a pick nobody loved. Like I wasn't like, I hated it as much as everybody else, but I still was. I
just didn't get it. Like,
do they know something we don't? Like, and clearly they did. But in my head, that was my question. Do they have to know something we don't? Because nobody had Patrick Williams going in the top 5. No, period. Like nobody had that.
What about you?
He was just a super raw prospect. That's the thing. He's just super raw. Like coming off the bench, his numbers weren't great. I mean, but the physical tools were there. Like you look at him, he's chiseled. He's built like a Greek god, But the game You didn't see it on the court as consistently as you wanted to. But he's obviously playing a lot better, in Chicago, and he's doing good. So good for him.
Yep.
I'm gonna go Tyrese Maxey for Philly. When Seth Curry was out or Danny Green was out, he provided him with another ball handler and shooting, and he kind of kept that other guard position stable, and he was able to play a little point guard. And my other one, I wanted to go James Wiseman, but he done missed so many games. It's kind of the Warriors look better without him for that part, so he got to kind of get back in there. But Tyrese Maxey, Emmanuel quickly, of course, and it was one more. It was just on my head. Peyton Pritchard for Boston.
Okay, yeah.
He's kind of tailed off a bit as Boston has gotten worse, but when Boston was winning and Kemba was out, he provided them with good minutes, scoring, some clutch shots, good defense and hustle. And I don't think anybody – I know, of course, a lot of you guys saw it come, but I don't think a lot of people saw Peyton Pritchard being an impact player for Boston. Of course, a lot of people probably thought he was a second afterthought, especially after the Naismith went in the lottery pick, was the lottery pick for him. So Peyton Pritchard has been a big surprise for me, had an impact. Him and Tyrese Maxey definitely.
Yeah, it's crazy like how they implement. Like it seems like every year rookies, man, it's plug and play. It's like they got a position for them when they draft them, and they got to go do their job. That's a lot to ask. Like that's not easy. These guys coming in. Most of them are less than 20 years old, less than 21. Yeah. Not that and you're throwing them into a professional game, and for them to do their job. I always think it's credit to the players, man. Like once again, I'm always a proponent of like NBA players are way better than people think as far as people, as far as like intelligence, as far as just like being professionals. And I think it just proves it, man. These kids come in at 20 years old and can contribute. It's amazing. I couldn't have done anything like that. But we
got to stop telling rookies they're bust before their rookie year is even over. Like I hate that. Like I hate that we don't even give, and I don't say we as us here.
15, that's it.
Yeah, like we give like the first 3 weeks, and it's like, he didn't come out and play crazy, and all of a sudden he's a bust. Like I don't even count guys' rookie year. Okay, they may not have played up to their expectations. It doesn't make them a bust. Some of these guys, like you said, they're 19, 20 years old coming in 1 year out of high school. They just got out of high school. Like you look at like life. We get out of high school. Most of us don't have it figured out until our mid to late 20s. But like our life isn't over, so we can't tell. I get tired of we still figure it out. But I hate telling, I hate hearing that guys are a bust. Like one guy, Obi Toppin, I hated seeing that he's a bust. How is he a bust when he hasn't even had a chance to show you what he has? Like
we're what 30 some games in, like no matter what. Like
like you're not a bust. Like this guy might year 4, he might be an all-star. And now all of a sudden, this guy that you were ready to call a bust, Zach LaVine, he was a bust in Minnesota. All he could do is dunk. That's it. He's nothing else. He's athletic. He's going to kill you with athleticism. That's it. Now look at him. He's an all-star player. Some guys just take longer. Zach LaVine is only, 25 maybe? 26? Yeah, he's like 25. So he still hasn't even hit his prime. Now he's an all-star. Now we're going to have expectations for him of being a consistent all-star. I mean, I think the way he's playing, that's not much to ask for a guy who makes an all-star game and is just hitting his prime. And another guy going back to is Julius Randle. Look how great look how great he is now, but he was a bust. Like all of a sudden he was a bust. But people,
you're right. Yeah, you
it's the right situation.
Right time.
Like the greater you are, the worse of a situation you end up going to in a sense. It's that's what I don't like about the draft is like we watch these great talents go to bad teams, bad organizations, bad rosters, and expect them to be the savior. And like that's a lot of pressure on a 19-year-old. Like let them get accustomed to NBA life first. Give them 2 to 3 years, then we can start measuring bust. But I hate killing guys in the middle of their rookie season that it's over, their career's done, they're done. Yeah, like I hate that.
Except for Anthony Bennett, like that dude was that
dude was a bust.
I apologize. Day one,
that dude was a bust.
That was good. That's it.
That was a little different. All right, before we get sidetracked, so the opposite. This is a great segue. The opposite of Anthony Bennett. Let's talk about who's the MVP so far, and what I mean is who won the first half of the year. Let's start with Chris again in case we lose him. Chris, who's your MVP of the first half?
MVP of the first half to me, he's unanimous. I know I'm going to get some heat for that, but to me, he's unanimous, and that's Joel Embiid, aka MVP. He's the MVP. Yeah. He's playing. What is he averaging? 30 and 12. Like I said, shooting over 50% from the field, 40% from three. He's a good free throw shooter, 85% from the free throw line. Number 1 seed in the East. He is just playing.
It's impressive.
And his defense too. I mean, he's in the running for defensive player of the year. Also, he's gonna be all NBA first defense. So to me, I mean, Jokic was there, but the fact that Denver has, they're like a 7th, 8th seed right now. They haven't played great of late. That dropped him down. And to me, LeBron was in there too. And I think without AD, that team's gonna struggle because they don't have a lot of talent after AD and LeBron.
Yeah,
so
well, he's a little tired too.
Yeah. And I think Joel Embiid right now is the MVP of the first half. He is playing absolutely tremendous. Big reason why the Sixers are the number 1 seed in the East. So to me,
and that goes,
Joel Embiid MVP.
That goes to Mo's point too. Let's remember the Embiid. Like, did he even play? I know he didn't play his first year, right? And did he play the second year in the league? Did he even play?
He missed the first 2 years of his league, and all
it was like
30 games.
Yeah, all it was Philadelphia. Like, how dumb! What a waste of this, and what could have been. Blah blah blah. That's exactly to Mo's points. Like, no, you gotta play the long game. You gotta stick this out. And Embiid is proving everybody right. So, Hoopers, who's your MVP of the first half?
Definitely agree with Chris. It's Embiid, Joel Embiid. He's averaging Shaq-like numbers. The percentages are high everywhere from the field, free throw line.
Imagine if Shaq could shoot threes. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
Right. Yeah.
Basically.
Or if Hakeem was 7 feet tall.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's Embiid. I mean, I don't really have much to add.
Man. You don't want to argue with the president. You agree, John, or you got somebody else?
I don't know. It's been kind of switching from week to week because everybody – I don't know about y'all, but everybody's playing like the best players are like playing at their best, honestly. Like, I got Dame though. He's missing his next 2 best players with CJ McCollum out, Nurkic out. Melo has been good, but he hasn't been great. Gary Trent has been good, but not great. His backup, Anthony Simons, is okay, but he doesn't really provide consistent enough offense when Dame isn't there, which none of the rest of the team do. And to have him in that 4th, 5th place spot, with top 5 in scoring, his percentage is up for the most part this year. So I got Dame, and then of course Embiid as well. But Dame
Yeah.
got me.
Everybody's got to have Embiid on their list. Come on. What about you, Mo? What about you?
It's the same. I got Embiid. I got Embiid 1. I got Dame 2.
Okay.
I had it being Embiid 1, LeBron 2, but I have to take my bias out. LeBron is still putting MVP like numbers up. Like, let's not lose track of what LeBron's doing but he's losing. And that's why Jokic isn't in the conversation like that anymore.
Right.
Losing. You have to win games. You're not going to be the 7th, 8th seed and win MVP. Like, you don't see that often. It doesn't happen that often when you got Joel Embiid, one of the best players in the NBA, let alone on one of the best teams in the NBA, best team in his conference. So I'm going Embiid. He's my MVP. Another guy I'm looking at, Steph Curry. Like, there's multiple guys. He's not my MVP. When we talk about the MVP race, I got, Embiid 1, Dame 2, LeBron 3. I think LeBron's 3A and Curry's 3B. Like, all those guys all could win MVP. But I gotta credit Steph. Like, the question was, can he carry a team?
Yep.
Clay gets hurt. Like, we knew the Warriors were about to be, and then Clay gets hurt. And now it's like, can Steph return to that MVP-like play? And now look at him. Like, they have a winning record. It's not by much, but they have a winning record. They've lost Wiseman for multiple games. They've been playing basically without a center. There's a point where Draymond Green missed so many games, and you're seeing, like, Steph is carrying that load. He's been Hooper of the night for the Hoopers for at least 5 times. At least 5 times. So I gotta mention Steph in this conversation.
Absolutely.
Just to let him know him and LeBron to me are 3A, 3B. You could put, if you got Curry over LeBron in your MVP race, I wouldn't be mad. If you got LeBron over Curry, I wouldn't be mad. But they're neck and neck for that third spot.
And we're talking about specifically the first half. It's obviously Embiid. Like, at the end of the year, it might be a different conversation. Been super impressed. Surprise player might even be Steph, just because of, like, they basically didn't have a season last year, and then as good as he's played without Clay, and they
were ready to cancel Steph. Like,
yes,
crazy.
Another player that I know a lot of people might not be thinking about, but we should start looking at Kyrie up there too. Like,
okay.
On 90, 50, 40.
Harden too, though.
Yeah,
Harden, like Kyrie and Harden might be 5A, 5B together. Like,
I'm trying to give me side. Our partner, Stephen Gillespie, obviously MVP.
It's definitely Embiid in my opinion. Like, it's where I got, like I said, I got Dame too, and it's not close to me between Embiid and everybody else. I think everybody else is close, but what Dame is doing is impressive. Like, we have to realize, like John said, he's missing his next 2 best players. That roster really isn't that good. Like, McCollum, no Nurkic. That roster isn't really that good. You got Damian Lillard. I think him and Steph are in the same position, and they're pretty much doing the same thing. They're carrying their team is going to be as great as they are, and they're being great. So, like, I feel like they fall in the same category of the expectation. They have to play at an MVP level for their team to be any good, or else they're going to be bottom of the league in a sense.
I will say it, though. Like, I know he's not up there in the race as high as those other guys, and I know Chris doesn't want to say it, but as far as, like, what they're doing for their team, and Julius Randle again has to be mentioned as far as, like, if Julius Randle's name was, another big name that got traded there, I think people would be like, we're all hesitant. We're all hesitant when a guy jumps up like that. But I'm just saying, like, for what he's done for his team, like, it's been pretty amazing to watch. Speaking of watch, second half teams to watch. Now, this is basically like, we know, like, Lakers, Nets, everybody's watching the Celtics. But who do you guys see as, like, either a team that could jump up from, say, like, the bottom now and jump into the playoffs and make some trouble like Miami did last year out of nowhere, or a team that may fall out of it? I mean, you can go either way you want with it. So we'll start with the Hoopers on this. Who's your team to watch the second half?
Team to watch in the second half? Honestly, I know they're in third place right now, but Milwaukee, because even though they're in third, they're kind of teetering.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, nobody's paying attention like they were last year. That's fair.
Milwaukee could drop down a couple spots. I think the Hornets, if they keep their play up, Malik Monk have a couple good nights. Devontae Graham figure out where he fits in their rotation. I hope they trade for a big man. I can't watch Cody Zeller anymore and pick and roll LaMelo Ball.
I can't believe Cody Zeller's still playing. That
And
dude's like my age, right?
like 28, 29, honestly.
I know, it's crazy though.
And I got the Bulls as well. I think the Bulls can rise up. Kobe White, Zach LaVine, Wendell Carter's been way better than I thought he could be.
Man, I hope all these guys are legit and they're as good as I think they are. I'm getting excited about this team, but I've done this before, and then
Nah, but I think this is it. I think Billy Donovan is a good coach, and
I do too.
For his team.
I do too.
Yeah, so if you're in Charlotte, Chicago, Milwaukee, maybe sliding out a couple spots down.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Fresh?
The main team I'm watching, I expected a lot more for them coming into the season. It's kind of the Wizards.
Okay.
They've gotten some wins recently. Their team is kind of meshing. Russell Westbrook's been in and out the lineup, and they started with some injuries and things like that. But I think a lot of people, I definitely thought the Wizards could fight for the playoffs coming to the year, and they've been around the bottom of the league, but they've gotten wins against some good teams. So, and it's the East, so I think you can get hot. They got two of the best players in the conference. Bradley Beal leads the NBA in scoring. So the Wizards have a chance to, all you have to do is get to 10 to fight for the play-in game to make the playoffs. So
that's right. And a win streak in the East right now can jump you. Like we talked about, the Bulls are within a few games of having a home court advantage. Like that's insane, man. So, but it can go both ways. Like we know that. Steven has the Pacers. Chris LeBron, who do you want to watch in the second half?
The Atlanta Hawks for me.
Okay.
Because they're a very interesting team coming into the season. I was very high on Atlanta. Obviously, the Hoopers know, they haven't played up to their, how they should, but
they were almost on my surprise, like negative team.
I could definitely see them making a move at the deadline to, obviously John Collins' situation is interesting, but to me, that's the team I'm really looking at seeing what they're going to do second half. I think if they keep intact, I think they'll be fine, but I wouldn't be surprised if they make a move also.
So Steven, before we get to Mo, Steven just narrowed in all 30 teams. He's really – I think it is going to be a really good season, and I think the second half is going to be awesome. But, all right, Mo, who do we want to watch?
Phoenix Suns.
I was hoping somebody would say that.
The Phoenix Suns, that was who I was dead set on, so I was hoping nobody said it. But, I wouldn't have been upset. But the Phoenix Suns, like you said, Bridges is a guy who ultimately is better. He's a surprise player as far as how consistent he's been playing. Devin Booker, we know what Devin Booker is. So to me, it's not a surprise. Like, I'm surprised he was an all-star snub, and the only reason he's in is because Anthony Davis was hurt.
Yeah.
We knew that once AD was announced, we knew Devin Booker was going to be the guy to replace him. I think there would have been an uproar if it was anybody else out of the Western Conference. And then, but the thing with Phoenix that I think this will be an impact on how great this guy's legacy actually is Chris Paul. Chris Paul doesn't have a championship, but he makes teams better. He makes players better. Like
He's
when he goes there.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, when he goes there, he makes them better. Look at OKC last year. Like they had like a less than a 3% chance of making the playoffs, and instead they're what, the 5th seed in the Western Conference last year. Look at Phoenix. Everybody was Phoenix could probably sneak in the 8th seed, maybe get to the playoffs. We don't, but he elevates everybody. Devin Booker is going to benefit from playing with Chris Paul.
Oh, yeah.
DeAndre Ayton is going to become a better player for the rest of his career for playing with Chris Paul. Like, he's going to elevate those guys for the rest of their career. Gilgeous-Alexander at OKC is going to be a star later on.
Superstar.
And it's from playing with Chris Paul. Like, he elevates those guys. So I think that's a better legacy than him chasing championships. He could have went to the Lakers this year. He could have went back to the Clippers. There's so many things he could have did. But instead of going to win a championship, and jumping on, riding the coattail of anybody, he said, you know what? My legacy will be making guys better. Like, when you look at how that guy took the next step while playing alongside of me, and it's going to forever affect these guys' careers. So I definitely the Phoenix Suns, and I'm a Chris Paul fan, so I love
with
Chris
you.
Paul.
And for those reasons, because now you'll start this, if what we're talking about is true, this is where the Chris Paul effect should start taking hold, and the team should get a little bit better. And then by the time the playoffs come around, hopefully, they're what they they're built on that momentum they had in the bubble last year. Which, man, every time I just think about that bubble, I just got a smile on my face. That was so much fun to watch. But
It was.
speaking of fun to watch, so that everybody, that's kind of our analytical side. Like, we talked about who to watch, we talked about the players, we talked about the MVP race. So we're having a little bit of fun right here, and I know the Hoopers are going to love this because they've been on this all year. So we got the All-Star break coming up. Everybody knows the favorite event in the All-Star break is the slam dunk contest. So I want to ask you guys, what was your favorite slam dunk contest of all time? I'm going to start with Chris LeBron once again because, I'm afraid of losing him. So, Chris LeBron, I know you're going to take somebody's because I know what yours are.
He's about to take mine. I know it. Watch. I know it. I know he's about to take mine.
So, Chris LeBron, your favorite slam dunk contest of all time?
2000 slam dunk contest. Vince Carter, elbow in the rim, windmill, it's over. That'll always stay forever with me for the rest of my life. So
it was amazing.
My favorite. I think Steve Francis was in it. The young T-Mac was in it. I mean, there was some stars in that. But
in it.
Vince Carter, that was amazing. That's all I gotta say. It just.
Well, it was half man, half amazing, right? That was a great performance. And it's like, you guys are all young. Like, I don't know, like, do you remember that they canceled the slam dunk contest for a year? Like, it got so bad. Like,
it was bad.
And then when Kobe came into the league, they're like, wait a minute, we gotta figure this out. Like, we got to get this kid on screen, and we got to get these stars in here. And that's what produced that slam dunk contest. Is, for a while it's once Jordan kind of was like, nah, I got to focus on basketball. Then all of a sudden it was bench players that were in the dunk contest. It just changed it so much. And then when Kobe and these guys started coming in, they're like, wait a minute, we got to figure this out. And they sure did. So yeah, 2000 was awesome. So all right, Mo, you got a good one in the chamber, man. You go next.
Oh yeah, the bringing back the dunk contest back to life. Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon. That was to me, like, I know there was. Aaron Gordon should have won that one, first off. Like, I know his last dunk was like, he didn't wow us. I mean, when you look at what he did, the boom, 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 like, it was crazy, but I get it. Zach LaVine put it in between his legs from the free throw line. We never seen it before. It's over. Cancel Christmas. But to me, that dunk contest right there, the dunk contest has been kind of iffy on and off. 1 year it'll wow us, and then like a couple of years it'll be bad.
Ooh, so you remember the year they like did that weird timer thing, and who was the white dude that got like 12 chances?
Yeah, that was terrible.
Birdman, Chris Anderson.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, like when they were doing that, it was terrible. Like there were years where like, okay, we get a really good one, and then like for the next 3 to 4 years, it's like, we got guys repeating for the simple fact it was a point in time again, nobody wanted to do it. But then you got Zach LaVine and Aaron Gordon. That was my favorite dunk contest I ever watched. I think mano a mano, that was the best one as far as a head-to-head matchup. When you evaluate those dunks and you look, I think that was the most exciting head-to-head matchup. It was up in the air until Zach LaVine put it in between his legs from the free throw line. It was a up in the air contest. Like, you couldn't have been wrong either way, but I think, to me, Aaron Gordon got robbed. I think Aaron Gordon won that dunk contest, in my opinion. I mean, he literally sat in a chair, you know what I'm saying, head above the rim, and puts it under him and dunks it. Like, it was just, that dunk contest to me was crazy, and it revamped and got me excited again to watch the dunk contest, because even though we always want to watch it, that's part of All-Star game, like, we want to watch, a lot of times it's disappointed us. Like, it got to a point, the three-point contest was more exciting than the dunk contest, and that's because we're watching the best three-point shooters go at it, but we weren't watching the best dunkers go at it.
Well, and that too, and it's always been a problem. Before I get to the Hoopers, the dunk contest has always been an issue because in-game dunkers aren't always the best, like, empty floor dunkers.
Mm-hmm.
Like LeBron in a dunk contest would have been all right, but I think the reason he never really got in one was because, like, a windmill doesn't look as good when there's not 5 guys standing under the hoop. But some of these guys, like famously Spud Webb on an empty court, like, there was nothing like that. I mean, it was a freak. Nate Robinson, oh my gosh, like every time he dunked the ball was amazing. So it's a unique, like, I grew up on it. Like, I saw literally, like, I've seen it from day one, which is crazy. Like, I've seen Dr. J dunk live. That's how old I am. When I was a kid, that's how old I am. I've seen Dr. J dunk live. I watched every Jordan one. I'm sure I'll bring that up in a minute. So, like, it is a very important thing to me. But the main reason why, like, I raised a son on the dunk contest. Like, every year, All-Star break, like, that dude was home for the rookie game. That dude was home for the Saturday night. That dude is home for, the All-Star game on Sunday. Like, from the time he could, like, he used to beg to stay up late to watch the All-Star game on Sunday, to watch these guys play. So it's very important to get, the young fans involved and get to see these stars. So when I was growing up, like, it was like we didn't have, TNT. We didn't have the NBA TV. We didn't have these highlights all the time. We barely had ESPN, be honest with you. I mean, that's the truth. So, like, All-Star Weekend for me was like, oh my gosh, I just got to see, Jordan and Neek and Magic and Worthy and all these guys at the same time. And then the dunk contest was amazing. Like I said, I remember the first slow-mo, like the first couple years, you saw the dunk and that was it. And then I remember, like, right around probably like mid-'80s, they were like, oh man, in slow motion, like, you really see what these guys are doing. Like, can you guys fathom highlights without slow motion? Like, that's, it's crazy, but so it's very important to me, the All-Star Weekend. And I know that it's not perfect this year because of circumstances, but it's very important to young people. Like, that was just my son's thing, man. That was his weekend.
I loved All-Star Weekend.
And it still is. I guarantee.
Yeah, I love All-Star Weekend.
Yeah, I guarantee it. I guarantee his fiance right now is like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And, like, he is still glued to it. And then when they start putting it in the video games, like, I don't know if you guys were video.
Yep, NBA Live. Yep, they had it in NBA Live. I remember that.
We got dunk contest in NBA Live. It's over. It's over. It's the greatest thing I've ever seen.
I remember that. We was able to throw it off the Jumbotron, do a cartwheel, put in between your leg 3 times. Like, NBA Live got crazy. And then just to bring up before they go, you brought up a point. I think LeBron ducked the dunk contest his whole career because of what you said, Jeff. He might not have been, we say he robbed us of never competing in one, and we look at, but that could have been if LeBron competed in a dunk contest and he didn't win a dunk contest. That would get brought up when you bring him in the GOAT argument.
He knew
that
better.
Would be brought up. He knew that. Like, he's known that. Now, if he would have did it at 18, I think he could have. I think he might have been able to do something at 18 years old. But, he kind of, it was a little at the time anyways.
Yeah.
If LeBron had lost, like, he could have lost one, but if he never won a dunk contest and participated in it, it's going to get brought up in the GOAT debate, and he knew that. Kobe won one, Jordan won one, Jordan won multiple, but, like, you were going to evaluate that, and, like, if you were losing who's the greatest player of all time, especially if we're comparing, like, he's better than Kobe, he's better than Jordan. Well, he lost in the dunk contest, and it probably would have been to some bum, you know what I mean? Like, some guy into the bench for the Warriors. Like, he couldn't even beat him, but you're telling me he's the greatest player of all time. Yeah, like he knew what he was doing. LeBron plays chess, not checkers. So, like, I think he felt like he wasn't creative enough to jump in the dunk contest, let alone.
And he's coming off, like, LeBron came into the league off of these, like, the Jason Richardson years and stuff, to where, like, these cats took it to a new level, like Vince and all those guys, like. When he came in,
he knew what he was doing. He knew not to compete.
I ain't playing around with this. I'm trying to check. I'm sorry, Hoopers. We got sidetracked there. You guys tell me your favorite dunk contest.
I'm glad you ended that with Jason Richardson, because that's where I'm going. That's what you had. Jason Richardson, Desmond Mason. It was Jason Richardson.
The second year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one was crazy. That one was crazy.
It was so crazy.
Like you say, we go through those years where it is lackluster, and then somebody comes and takes over. And Jason Richardson was after the void of Vince not getting back in it for a couple of years.
Yep.
And like I said, Desmond Mason won. Did he beat Jason Richardson?
No, he didn't beat Jason.
Jason Richardson beat him. He beat
Desmond Mason twice.
So. And he just took it up to the next level after that. He was one of my favorite dunkers.
I got him as my best. I've got him as my best, like, dunk competition dunker, just because of how many times he did it and the dunks he did. His size helps. Like, you don't want to super tall guy in it. Like
I think Zach
remember-
Levine. I think Zach Levine will have something to say about that though. When we
Well,
talk about the
okay.
greatest contest dunker, I think Zach.
You know what? We should do a whole different show on that.
Zach Levine put it in between the legs. He windmilled and put it in between the legs from the free throw line in the same dunk contest. We've never seen it.
So I remember when Isaiah / J.R. Ryder went between the legs from the baseline, and that was like. It was all night on SportsCenter. Like me and my boys were like, "What did we just see? Like we'll never see anything this great ever again." Man, there's high school kids doing that now.
They do it in
Yeah, they put it between the legs in games now. Like so. But to do it from the free throw line, like we got to see multiple Zach Levine, windmill for the free throw line. If I'm not mistaken, we've never seen that. I know we never seen a guy put it in between the legs from the free throw line. So. I think Zach Levine might have something to say with him participating a couple years. He might have something to say about who was the best dunk contest dunker of all time. Like him, Vince Carter, Richardson. That would be an argument, but he would be standing there with a lot of dunks to throw up there to put him there.
We may have to do that as a show. Maybe All-Star Weekend. I'll just do a show on best All-Star Saturday night performers ever. Like Greg Hodges and Larry Bird and Richardson. Greg Hodges got to compete, and he didn't even have a team. He didn't have a team. He got to compete. Yeah. So mine, you guys know, I picked 88. Jordan versus Neek. That stuff was crazy. Like Dominique's a guy that crossed over. Like he's one of the better in-game dunkers and. All-star dunkers. Like it was amazing what he did. The 360 windmill is still the way it was shot. You watch that in slow motion. It's still one of the greatest things like I've ever seen in my life. Jordan from the free throw line, like we were all like, what did we just see? And it's funny because I would say right now in the NBA, 30 guys could do that. If I had to guess, like 30 guys could jump from it. But like, kiss the rim, but also Jordan. When Jordan was doing this, like he was also really, really good. So it was a little unique, when he was doing that. So there was nothing like me, trying to recreate Jordan on my Nerf hoop in my bedroom and getting yelled at, by my moms to stop jumping around and shaking the house. Like it was just one of the greatest events of the year. So I had to take an old school one, but all those are correct. And that's what's cool about them is like that's why they should still have them because you never know when you're going to get that night. Like what was the night? Nate Robinson and Dwight Howard and the crazy Superman stuff and the stickers. It was fun. That was fun. Like, you're just celebrating the NBA. You know what I mean? And sorry, Mr. LeBron is back, but you're just celebrating the NBA. That's what I always say. Like some of them aren't great or whatever, but they're just having fun. 3-point contest can be awesome.
Yeah, every year.
Here's what's fun. I don't even know if you guys know this existed. So before the rookie sophomore game, it used to be NBA Legends. It was the NBA Legends game. And so you can imagine it was pretty cool because like in the 80s, the Legends, I mean, these dudes played in the 60s. Yeah. And this is crazy. But what started happening is these dudes were blowing their knees out because they didn't play basketball all year. And I remember the last one, if you go back and look, like 2 dudes got carried off the court that night and they're like, nah, we can't do this. So they invented the rookie sophomore game because that's who should be playing. And they still give the money to the same fund for the NBA, like, the older NBA players and stuff. But they're like, man, we can't be carting these dudes off. They're going to have a year of rehab because they played an all-star game. Yeah, it was wild, man. But I watched it. It was Friday night, man. I watched the NBA Legends. Like, I didn't care.
Yeah, we gotta do a dunk contest show because I think the most overrated dunk of all time was Blake Griffin jumping over the car. And the reason why I say that is because he didn't jump over the roof; he jumped over the hood of the car. Every dude in the NBA that could dunk would have did that.
Exactly. He jumped.
Everybody in that dunk contest would have did that. If he would have jumped, he even got a Kia commercial. He got sponsorship for doing that. If he would have jumped over the roof of the car, I'd be like, okay, that was amazing.
He wasn't about to hurt it.
But he jumped over the hood. Like, that was like, bro, everybody in it was so hyped up because of the photo caption. Like, that picture from that was crazy. But to me, that was like the most overhyped dunk when we started talking about, because it would probably get brought up as some of the best dunks that we've seen in a dunk contest. I'd be like, I give him no credit. He jumped over the hood. Everybody in that dunk contest could have jumped over the hood. He needed to jump over the roof.
Here's what's funny. I got a Hyundai, and it's about the same size as a Kia, right? I could damn near jump over the hood of my Hyundai. I'm just saying, like, on camera, like, I know what it looks like, but they ain't that big. They're really not.
Yeah, like everybody there, I think he did it. It was a money move. He got sponsored by Kia. He was in Kia commercials. You know, obviously they were the official sponsor of the NBA at the time, but then he got all his Kia commercials and everything. I was like, yeah, it was just a money move, because if he'd have jumped over the roof, I'd have gave him a lot more credit. I still think probably anybody in that dunk. I don't know about the roof. The roof was actually pretty high. When you talk about not getting tripped up, but the hood, like, I could jump onto the hood of the car. I don't know if I could jump over it, but I know I could jump onto the hood. So I know a 6'10" Blake Griffin, if I could jump on it, I know he could jump over it clearly. Like, that, to me, it just wasn't as impressive as, like, the photo capture moment, though. If you have that, you can hang that up as a poster, show it to your kids, and they're going to think that was, like, probably the greatest dunk we ever seen in our lifetime. You know, was that dunk, but he jumped over the hood. Like, I'd raise my son and tell, bro, he only jumped over the hood. It was trash. It was weak. Don't let that photo. You can't even have that hanging in your house.
I'll say another thing as far as overrated stuff. Like, it was crazy how much it meant to win the dunk contest. I was never comfortable with Jordan doing 2 free throw dunks in the same contest and win it. I'll say it. Like, I know it's
he did it the year before too.
Yeah, I was never comfortable with that, but that's how much it meant. I really did. Like, I can't explain to you what it was like sitting there watching that, like the Nick Jordan years. Like, it was insane. But I was like, come on, man, like, gotta have something. But you know, we all know that those guys weren't working on these dunks. You know what I mean? Like, they had other things to do, like playoffs, and you know, those Atlanta teams that Nick was on was good too. You know, it wasn't like, you know, he was, you know, we're talking, he's a Hall of Famer, not a guy off the bench. So, but it was wild stuff, man. So, hey, I can't thank all you guys enough for coming on. This was exactly what I wanted, kind of set the stage for the second half of the season. It was really cool. I like talking NBA because I don't know, you know what I mean? I'm not the experts that you guys are, so I want to thank each one of you for coming on. The Hoopers, you know, go check out them. You know, every week they drop. You guys go live every week. You still Wednesday, or is it
Friday morning? Is it
Friday?
Yeah, Friday morning, 9
so, regardless, Friday mornings. If not, it's always on there. You can always, you know, go back and watch it, whatever. Then, you know, they have the podcast everywhere you listen to your podcast. They're part of Off the Ball Network, just like the rest of us. So check out everything they're doing. Mo up in flames now that he's kind of settled down a little bit from his missions abroad. You know, he's putting out content. He's putting out content like every other day now. Up in Flames got a new logo. He's got live shows going all the time. You know, he's writing for the Off the Ball Network. Got a ton of stuff going on right now. So Mo, like, you're kicking it, and we appreciate it, man.
Yeah, we got our mock draft. Matter of fact, picks 1 through 10 drop tomorrow.
Tomorrow night, right?
Yep, tomorrow. We did the show already.
Okay.
We're gonna release it tomorrow. So yeah, everybody's gonna be able.
I'm excited for that.
It's a network sponsored thing, so you know it's hosted by me, but this is a network event. Everybody's gonna be involved that can be, and basically, you know, you're gonna hear 1 through 10, 11 through 20 will be next week, and then 21 through 32 will be the week after, and then after that, we're gonna put together a graphic show, and it's gonna be the official first round Off the Ball Network mock draft. Everybody who participated and had their pick for those teams are gonna get their credit for making that pick, so it's not one individual effort. So, but picks 1 through 10. Drop tomorrow, video and on audio, the audio version for podcasts, and then I'll release the video and everything tomorrow too. So that's definitely something to look forward to. That was a dope conversation, you know, and it's only going to get harder because next week is 11 through 20, but those picks 1 through 10, those players are off the board. So if a guy got picked before, you know, it's gonna have to come out because you gotta do your homework now. So, but it was definitely fun to do, exciting. So I'm ready to release that tomorrow.
Oh, that's awesome, man. I'm looking forward to that. And up once again, everybody, Up in Flames, every podcast, wherever you listen to your podcast, like Mo's there, you won't regret it. You know, always high energy, always informative, always fun stuff. So. And then Chris LeBron, like, what are you working now? Like, you got like 6, 7 shows a week now?
Oh, me? Yeah, I got a few shows. I just did a show with to Scott Pollard, Rashad Phillips. You know, got a new betting show, Nothing But Bets on Dash Radio.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
got a few projects that I'm going, so I'm excited.
Yeah, so Chris LeBron, president of the Off the Ball Network. You guys go listen to his podcast. Like he puts out content like every other day. He's getting a lot of great guests on there. He's a great interviewer. Go check that out. Go check out his stuff on the network, offtheballnetwork.com. Just like all of us, like we got so much going on right now. That's why I had these guys on. You know, I'm just a host tonight. They're the brains of the operation. I'm just a talking head. So you guys all know me, Jeff. Jeff needs sports. Jeff needs help. You know, we still got the WandaVision stuff going on. If anybody's crossing over between the two podcasts with Stephen Gillespie, he's got a show tonight, which is super dope. And once again, you know, listen to me wherever you listen to your podcast, like, share, review, all of us. You know, if you're just a friend of the show, go give every one of us here a like, share, review, a 5-star or whatever. It helps a lot, means a lot to us. And go read all of our articles and everything, all the guys are writing. So that's it. Enjoy the rest of the NBA season. Enjoy, you know, All-Star weekend. Have a good time. Be kind to each other. Who's gonna say it?
Chris has to say it.
Don't be racist.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, gentlemen.
All right, guys. Appreciate you, man.